Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I am here tonight with my Blick Studio markers that I just recently hauled, and I have my Garden of Joy 2 coloring book, and this is Amazon paper, so I'm kind of iffy. I know there's a huge debate over is it okay to put these brush markers down on the rougher papers, but I'm going to be really careful and hope for the best here. Oh, yeah. But when I did my haul video, a few of you had expressed interest in the Blick Studios and asked if I would give you guys a closer look at these because you might be interested in those. So that's what I thought I would do. And like I said, this is the Blick Studio brush marker. It has a brush nib and it has a chisel nib. It is rectangular, almost hexagonal in shape, so it's not round. So to me, honestly, this feels kind of odd in my hands, I think. But, I mean, it's not a bad feel. It's very lightweight. It feels okay, but it's different. I don't have any markers that are shaped like this, so it'll take a little bit of getting used to for me. But it has the brush nib there, and then it has the chisel nib on this end, and it's kind of a small chisel nib compared to some of the budget-friendly markers, but that's good because that means I can get into smaller areas, and I think I can control this a little better personally. Maybe. So that's how it looks. You have a number and a name on each end of the marker. This is 011, which is coral pink. And then you have on the back of the marker, you have the SKU code, and it has coral pink listed as the color there as well. So it's a very pretty marker. Let me see. Where is here we go. This is my empty Copic sketch that I use for my odorless mineral spirits. I don't know why I can't think straight tonight. But here's the size difference if you're familiar at all with the Copic sketch. So the Copic sketch is a little longer. They're about the same width. The Copic sketch, of course, is like a oval, and it's very round and smooth. This is more of a rectangular with like a hexagonal shape to that. So it has the edges. Of course, this isn't going to roll probably at all off your desk. So, and the Copic sketch, see the nibs comparison. Here's the Copic sketch nib, and here is the Blick Studio nib. So if you can see this, I'm trying to get this the best angle. The Blick brush is not as large as the Copic. The Copic is wider, it's longer, and so yeah, it's a little bigger on the Copic sketch. And I think I do like the smaller size of the brush better, maybe. I'm not sure. I really haven't used any of the Copic sketch in colors. If you're familiar with the Copic Chow, I do have 6 of these babies. And believe it or not, the Copic Chow is still just a teeny tiny bit longer than the Blick Studio. Okay. And I guess we didn't look at the chisel on the Blick Studio and the Copic sketch. I think these are going to be I think they're the same between the chows, but we'll look. And so there's your chisels, and this nib's worn down from where I've been using it. It really needs replaced, but so chisels look very similar, which makes me wonder if a Copic, the brush nib's definitely not going to fit, but it makes me kind of wonder if the chisel of a Copic might possibly fit a Blick. But, I mean, the Blicks have replaceable nibs also. So, the nibs are replaceable on the Blicks, and Blicks also has inks that you can buy to refill your markers. So, they're completely refillable. There's your difference between the Copic, Chow, and these are all super nibs, so they're the same on the Copics. Okay. So, it's back in there. The Blick Studio Markers comes in 72 colors. Okay, that is all they have. Or, excuse me, not 72, 96. Some of you are going, you're wrong, Donna, and you're right. It's 96. So there's 96 colors. One of those is a colorless blender. So this is the first 80. You have your yellows here, your oranges, reds, pinks, lavender, purples, blues, greens, browns, and then into your grays. There is an awful lot of grays from here and then over to here are all grays. You have basic gray 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you have a steel blue, which is basically like a bluish gray. And then you have your cool grays, percentage-wise, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And then your warm grays in percentages of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I think they could have done what a lot of the other more budget-friendly brands do and kind of broke that down a little bit and maybe did a 10, a 30, a 50, a 70, and a 90, or something like that, and gave us some more colors. That's what I would have really liked to have seen Blick do. But they do have some lighter colors in the Blick set that you don't necessarily find in a lot of the more budget-friendly. The sage is very light. I do really like this gray lavender. I like this lilac. The light periwinkle is very pretty. Periwinkle. Light cerulean blue. Even the cerulean blue is actually pretty light. So, I mean, it has some really nice colors. It does. So, without further ado, let me set this aside so I can access these markers. And I don't know how these brush or chisels are going to work with this paper. I don't know if they're going to bleed out. I don't know anything about what's about to happen. So, with that said, what should I do? Get a cute little peacock. Let's see. I don't know what color. I need to get some better light. It's getting kind of late, so my lighting is not very good. Okay, let's try Horizon Blue to start with. That's 015 Horizon Blue. And this is what I've found. I believe these brush nibs are rather dry. That's what I thought in my swatching. And these lids do not stack, just in case you were wondering. So I thought they felt rather dry in swatching. I don't know if there's not plenty of ink or what the deal is, because the chiseling doesn't seem all that bad. But let's just go in and color a little bit. So like I said, I do apologize for the lighting that we may be dealing with. It is about 10:30 at night, and I had gotten I had seen the request earlier to get a closer look at the Blick pen, or the Blick, these Blick markers, the Blick Studios, and I wanted to do that. And I was gonna just do it at a later date, and then I thought, yeah, you know, I had pulled this book out because today I filmed my what I colored in the month of January video, so it would be ready to go. And I realized, hey, I really want to color in this coloring book again, so I left it out so I could color in it, and I thought, why not? And see, it just seems like the ink just doesn't flow really well through these brush nibs, but I'm going to be honest, I feel this almost the same way when I use a Copic. So I think maybe it could be a brush nib thing that you just kind of have to get used to with brush nibs. I'm not really sure. Maybe they're meant for something a lot different than the way I'm using them. I don't know. I don't know. Some of you may have more experience with Copics and things like that, and could maybe weigh in on whether or not this is user error, because it very well could be user error. Okay, what do I want to do right now? Because I really don't have any peacocky colors in these Blick Studios. I don't like this. I don't like this situation I have found myself in. I don't know. I'm really at a loss here, guys. Okay, I'm gonna regret doing my poor little peacock. I'm gonna end up with these colors. I'm gonna end up having to get a whole new book, but we're gonna do it anyway. I should have planned this out and realized there wasn't good peacocky colors. This is Celadon green. I'm gonna do the wings with this. I'm sorry if I seem a little out of it. It's been a long day. I actually have to be up pretty early in the morning, so I probably should not have started recording this late. But I'm telling you guys, it's like an addiction. You know, I'm addicted to coloring, and I'm addicted to you guys. And I get super excited when you guys actually ask, you know, to see something very specific. And so I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. And it's like, and more so, I want to do this right now. These brush markers are wonderful for blending together. That is something that I have always heard brush markers just absolutely rock at. It's sad though because blending doesn't generally work very well on this kind of paper. So that's like a downfall. I saw Anne's latest video of her coloring essentials must-haves, and she called all of us color tubers out to do a video on our coloring essential must-have products. So I will be gathering together a list of mine and pulling all of that together and making a video in the next couple of days for that. That's a really neat video, and I look forward to doing mine for you guys. Let's see if I can keep my hand steady. The one thing I do like about the brush is being able to really use just the tip for very fine detail. The little bit of trimmer I have in my hand though makes it very difficult. It takes a lot of concentration to try to steady my hand enough to be that kind of precise. I get so frustrated with that, but it is what it is. There we go. That's actually kind of cute. Okay. Let me see. I can't believe I'm having to use an extra light just to be able to see around my room. Lighting gets so bad when the sun, you know, starts to go down. Excuse me. Okay, let's go with let's do I guess canary yellow, well, maybe honey yellow, and then go back over with some yellow or ochre. But I don't know if those colors are going to be different enough to really show, but we can try. Okay, so this is honey yellow 009. And then this is the yellow ochre, and I don't think, yeah, there's not much of a color difference there. Can you guys even see that? I doubt it. Oh well. Oh well. Okay. Now, let us think on this as I start to move down and work towards the tail. On the little tail feathers. You hear that? Remember me just telling you guys the other day that stuff like that drives me crazy. I don't know if you guys remember the video. But yeah. Goodness gracious. All these crazy decisions. I was very happy to see that my idea about like a Marker Monday was so well received by so many of you. I knew that there were a lot of you who had expressed interest in learning more about different types of markers and things like that. And I mean, I am by no means an expert, and I definitely would not be doing like tutorial type thing. That's not me. But we could definitely talk about the different markers, water versus alcohol, any little tips or tricks that I may have picked up along the way. We can compare different brands maybe. Oh goodness, I'm sorry. And, you know, that way, what I'll start doing now that I know you guys are interested in that kind of thing is, of course, I've got all of my different kinds of markers that I have, and we'll go through, like, each one of those and, you know, talk about them specifically. What I think the pros and the cons of each one of those are, kind of thing. But if I'm out and about and I see a set of markers that's, you know, affordable for me, I will pick those up and make a video similar to what, you know, like we did today, and just take a look at them and see, you know, what they're all about. And if any of you know of any markers that you think I should take a look at, please let me know what markers they are, so I can look into that. I don't know if I would have any of those, you know, available that I could get my hands on, but I could definitely try. I would really like to try those Staedtler 326s that Zoe uses so often. They look really neat. I would really like to try some of those. The barrels look okay, but I really like those Staedtler 326s, or Staedtler 326s. I like the way they look, and I would definitely be interested in giving those a test drive. One of the things I have honestly been wanting to try for a while, and I may try this and do a video maybe, if I can find them at a decent price, is the Crayola brush blendable markers that are supposed to be, you know, there's been some speculation that they're not 100% water-based, and I would kind of like to take them for a test drive and find out what I think about them. I think it may be, maybe there's not as much water, I don't know, but I would really like to get my hands on those and try those out and try to figure out what it is about those. Now I'm going to show you guys what I'm already noticing with these, with this particular Blick marker. If I can get this, can you guys see how that tip is already kind of, can you see that little bit of a bend there? There, can you see that? It almost looks like the brush is fraying. And I don't know if it's from using it on this paper or what the deal is, because I know so many people have tried to tell me that, yeah, I don't think this one looks like that. I know I've had several people tell me that it really won't fray out the tips. So, I mean, I don't know, but I don't know. I'll keep an eye on these others as I use them more, because I was specifically using the tip on that one a lot, like the teeny tip to do the little outlines and stuff, and maybe that had something to do with it. Is it normal for the tip to do that? Because I'm assuming a brush nib is going to break in. So I mean, you guys tell me, is it normal to have that little bit of a frayed look to it after, you know, you've seen how much use they've gotten? The only thing that's been done before this picture was a swatch. You guys are getting to see me color with these markers for the very first time. So some other markers I would like to try are, and these are markers, you know, that I've never ever tried or anything. I would like to try the Papermate Flare. I have used flares in the past, but I did not understand how, this was in the very, very beginning of my coloring. I saw a pack of flares, and I'm pretty sure they were actual flares, and I thought they were just gorgeous in color. Picked it up, took it home, put it on paper, and went, oh no, and just, I think I may have thrown them away because I thought they were just terrible, terrible markers. Of course, at that point, the only thing I knew was a Sharpie, and all I knew is that that was definitely not working like a Sharpie. But now that I know, you know, the difference between, you know, the water-based and alcohol-based markers and things like that, I think I might be able to work with them better now, and I'd like to give them another shot. And of course, I've tried the Copics, and I like Copic ink a lot. I do. I like Copic ink a lot, and I would love to get more Copics. Slowly. Even if it's for nothing more than refilling budget markers, I want its ink. This is 017 Teal Green, but they do have a lot of very beautiful colors that's available in the Copic line, and I would really like to expand beyond my 6 little chows and my empty Copic sketch and get a few more of, you know, those. And I think maybe I could do that just based off of, you know, just getting certain colors that I like. But the one thing I've noticed that you kind of run into with that, when you say, okay, I'm going to purchase these open stock a little at a time, and that's great, you know, because you're doing it as, you know, you can afford to do that. So I get that, I really do, and that's exactly how I would have to acquire Copics, truly. But it frustrates me just a tad, because if you look at like the price of, say, a 72 set A and 72 set B of the Copic like chows, and then you figure in what you're going to pay for markers that you get open stock, you'll soon find out that you are much better off buying those sets price-wise. But they're a very big upfront investment, that is for sure. Now, this is something I've noticed with the Blicks also. Do you see the ink down in here and here on these? And I'm sure this would wipe off with an alcohol wipe, but I noticed they were very leaky looking when I received them. Several of them were like that. And I don't know what that means. I would hope it would mean there's plenty of ink in them. And I mean, you guys are just getting my first impressions, and please, for those of you who, you know, requested this, to see these and for me to talk about them in a little more detail, you know, please don't take my, well, I think it feels dry or anything like that as a don't purchase these markers, because I don't know. I could very well be the one that's not using them correctly, okay? Because it's like I said, I kind of feel the same way about the Copics that I've used, the Copic chows. And I have the 48 set of Prismacolor brush. They have like the brush and the nib. And I wish those were as inexpensive as the ones that have the chisel and the nib, because I would love to have a full set of Prismacolors. But I have the 48 set with the brush nibs, and those feel a little dry to me too. So, like I said, it might be the fact that I am so used to coloring with budget-friendly nibs, extremely juicy markers or whatever. I don't know. So you can't necessarily hold that against the marker. And it does seem, especially in smaller areas like this, when I'm kind of, you know, doing this flicking motion in small areas, I'm getting great coverage. The marker does not feel dry doing this, you know, but if I widen that stroke out, that's when it feels like I can't get good coverage, and they feel a little dry. And so I can't speak for Copic Sketch, because I don't think I've ever colored with a Copic Sketch. Yeah, I don't think I have. I do want to get the Copic Skin Tone set and try those, because I have the Cali Art skin tones, I have the Chameleon skin tones, and I really like those. And now, of course, I have what skin tones are available in Blick, so I would have those. And I would like to try the Copics and see what I think about them. If you guys have the Copic skin tones, let me know what you think about them. Are they good? You know, are they really good markers? What do you think about the colors? You know, I know what the quality is. When we're talking about quality of the Copic, I get it. I understand the quality of a Copic. But what I'm curious about is, what do you think about the colors that they have in that 6-piece skin tone set, if you happen to have it? pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I do think the colors are very vibrant in this set. I definitely wish there were more colors. I think that the colors are lacking. And I was very disappointed with how many grays there are. And when I say I was very disappointed, don't kind of like get me wrong there. I knew what I was getting. I knew how many grays were in the set when I bought the set. So I'm saying I'm disappointed that there are so many grays. I mean, it's not like I feel cheated, because I don't. I knew exactly what I was getting when I got it. And I did think about getting only the colors, because on the Blick site, and I may have already told you guys this, but on the Blick site, if you buy the set, it's considered like an everyday value kind of item, and therefore coupon codes are not valid on them. But if you buy the markers individually, of course, if you buy 6 or more, you get a huge discount. You know, it's like $1 or so off of each marker anyway. But then on top of that, you can use coupons. And I had a coupon code for Blick, which is what made me think, ooh, maybe it's time to actually make an investment. You know, because what I've done so far is I've bought budget-friendly brands that I couldn't get refills for, that I could not replace nibs on, you know, other than my chameleons. And I thought maybe, you know, maybe it's time to make an investment into a set. And I'll start with the Blicks, and then hopefully, I do not like that there's not a mark. I understand it shows a brush, and I understand it shows a chisel, but I am so used to, these are just my nasty Touch 5s that I can't stand, that are sitting over here. But you see how you've got a gray line here and no line here. The gray line says, hey, this is the nib, or the bullet nib. You don't get anything like that on these. So it makes me open up the wrong end a lot. So, I mean, that's just something to get used to. It's something I don't particularly like, but it's something that I just need to get used to. And I know that. So. But what I was saying is, you know, I was like, wow, I don't want all these grays. That's just nuts. And then when I realized I couldn't use, you know, my coupon code on the whole set, I thought, since I really don't use grays all that much, I know a lot of people use bukus of grays, and I use my blue grays and my green grays, but you don't get any in this set. So I thought, well, let me see about just putting, you know, just getting the colors, and maybe I can just get the color, use the coupon code, and it would be cheaper that way. I really didn't need a colorless blender either, or black, you know. So I loaded just the colors, and it was like a maybe $16 difference is all it was. And I was like, I'll just go ahead and buy the whole set. You know, at that point, it's kind of like, why not? Because I suffer from that terrible disease called full set syndrome, and I know what would have happened. I would have got those colors, and I would have thought, oh, they're so pretty, and I would have thought that for about a minute, until it started eating at me that I did not have the full set. And that is what kind of scares me about the whole Copic thing. So far, I've survived those 6 little Copics, but when I tell you guys that I have these Copic markers, how do I always say that? My 6 little Copics, because it's very disappointing. So it's not that it doesn't drive me crazy, it does. But my little 6 Copics are generally stashed away somewhere out of sight. I did throw them in the same pouch that I'm storing my Blicks in, since they, you know, would fit. So I don't know. Now it might make it worse that I can stare at them all the time. I hope not. Okay, so I'd like to try more Copics. Alright, that's where I was with that. Master markers. I think that that would be a neat thing to try. I don't know. It's hard for me to spend that much money because that's a lot of money for those 160 markers. And I mean, let's face it, they don't come with refills. You can't replace the nibs. I believe they are brush markers, so therefore those nibs are going to fray because, I'm sorry, brush nibs break down faster than like those budget-friendly nibs do. I don't know. I want them, you know, I want them, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah. You know, I kind of think before I would invest, because I think it's like maybe 100, is it 160? Is it 130 or 160? Well, let's just even say at 130. I know it's over 130. So let's just say 130. That's for, of course, 160 markers. But right now you can get the 72 Copic Chows for under $200. So, yeah, it's going to cost you about $70 more maybe. But you would be getting the... You'd be getting the Copics. So, and to me, the Copics are kind of like an investment. Like I said, kind of like the way I looked at the Blicks. Like an investment. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what this is. Okay, I see. I'm trying to figure out how these feathers on this tail go. I've got a little area here that I'm not real sure on. Oh. Are you guys blurry? I hope not. I'm really sorry if you are. I have not figured out how to turn off. I know I've heard YouTubers, color tubers say that we need to turn off our autofocus. And if someone knows how to do that with a Galaxy S9, can you please tell me? I'm all ears. All ears. I'm just going to put a few of these little dots through here just to... So we're bringing that color in a little more into this also. I think that might look good. This is that darker teal. I don't want to get so many that it gets too dark through here, but I thought a couple might look good. Hopefully I don't regret doing these. I always worry when it comes down to doing things like this that I'm gonna, you know, that something terrible is gonna happen and I'm gonna seriously regret that I did something. So I tend to be really cautious about what I do, and then I feel like I had missed opportunity. So it's in it. Trying to be super light-handed right here, so maybe I can do these lines so maybe you can see all the other color that I put down first. So it'd be like having two of the colors, but I don't think it's working. I have to come back in and add a little bit of this just along the edges, so I can accomplish what I wanted to there. I love this book. It's such a cute book. It's like cuteness overload. I was having some Diet Coke. It's from Chick-fil-A. Do you guys have Chick-fil-A's where you live? I'm not a huge Chick-fil-A fan. They do have good chicken, but I do like their little nuggets, but I'm not real big on Chick-fil-A. They used to have a spicy chicken that I thought was really good. I don't know if they still have that. I'm starting to get a lot more comfortable with my pencils, guys. I've been trying to kind of shade and highlight my pictures with my pencils. And, you know, to get that extra practice. And I think that's going well. I'm starting to get a feel for what pencil is going to do best on a certain paper. I'm starting to be able to feel, for so long people would say that a certain pencil had a soft lead or a hard lead, or it was creamy or it was silky or it was buttery, and I never knew what those terms really meant. They didn't make much sense to me, but I've been using like several different brands, going back and forth on different types of paper and things, and it is starting to make sense to me what a lot of those terms mean. For example, I absolutely love the Sergeant Art Supreme pencils that I just ordered and received. Oh my goodness, guys. I really like those pencils a lot. I mean, a lot. So, for those of you who have used them and truly understand this soft lead, hard lead versus all this stuff, excuse me, you guys tell me, does the Sergeant Art Supreme have, excuse me, I'm so sorry, have a soft lead or a hard lead? And here's why I ask. What I noticed when swatching those was, for example, if I were to use my Prismacolor on a swatch, and I were to start out very light and gradiate up to, you know, like a burnish, the lead on the Prisma would just eat away. I mean, literally, like butter. I get that, okay? It's like if you took a stick of butter and scrubbed a stick of butter, how the butter would wear off really quickly and it would keep going down, 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 getting smaller and smaller. That's how a Prisma does when you rub it, you know, on paper. So if I were to do a swatch, and like a full-size swatch, and start out very light and then burnish it in, it would take, the pencil would need sharpened, okay? The Prisma would need sharpened. When I did the Sergeant Art Supremes, it did not need sharpened. That lead was not just melting away per se as I put it on the paper. It still had a nice sharp point even after, now I mean it was used a little, but even after using light pressure and then burnishing in. Does that mean that it has a hard lead? As of last night, when I was doing these swatches, I would have said yes. I was talking to a friend and I'm like, I think that this is what a hard lead really means, but it's not. So I don't understand. Would the Prisma be buttery? And maybe the the Sargent Art Supremes would maybe be what is known as silky. I mean, you guys tell me. Come on, pencil people. I need some input on that. So I had thought that I had pretty well determined that I felt that they were a hard leaded pencil. But today I was putting together new swatch folders, a new way for me to keep up with my swatches. And while doing that, I realized that, you know, I had my Goldfaber swatched, and I was like, why not? I've got the 12-pack of polychromos, and I keep those 12 polychromos just in with my Goldfabers, since Goldfaber's 48 count, and my case is for a 72, so I just went ahead and tossed those polychromos in there. So I thought, let me go ahead and just swatch them on the same page. Now granted, I kind of done a little swatch when I first got them, you know, just to get an idea of the color. But this was a whole new experience because, you know, just a couple days ago, I had just swatched out the Sargent Art Supremes, and I've been doing a little bit of coloring with them. So I kind of had an idea of what, you know, in my brain, I had thought would be a hard lead. And then when I swatched those polychromos, I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, people, I would love to have the, you know, a set of polychromos and try to learn to work with them. I think, you know, it would be neat. But I don't know. I can totally get where people say that unless you like to layer, you probably don't want to deal with polychromos, because let me tell you, I was having a heck of a time doing the whole light to dark into a, you know, light, medium, dark to a burnish with those polychromos. They were giving me fits. I was doing them the exact same way. I mean, I did it the exact same way that I had just done the Sargent Art Supremes just a day or two earlier. But it wasn't having it. It wasn't working for me the way I thought it should. So I think now I've got an idea of what everyone else refers to as a hard lead pencil. And I'm a little confused, because that just really confuses me even more about this hard lead, soft lead thing. I don't know. So I guess there's hard lead, soft lead, buttery, smooth, silky. I don't know. So if you guys can, you know, throw any comments down below that might help me in some way understand what I'm experiencing, that would be amazing. My hand is just not steady enough for this today. Of course, it never really is, so Get used to it, Donna. Okay, cute little peacock. Zoom you guys out. You can see a cute little peacock. And that is the Blick Studio markers. These are the 4 that we used here. This was the Horizon Blue, and then the Celadon Green, Teal Green, and Honey Yellow. So you can kind of see, zoom you in again, so you can kind of look at marker color versus cap. So you can get a look at that. This is the Horizon Blue. I mean, they're not bad matches. If you can see it, this is the Celadon Green. That's actually a very good match. That's almost dead on that one. And then the teal. Oh, I guess you need to come up here to see the teal, huh? Sorry. And the Celadon Green, again, for those who missed that. Okay. Now, I don't know how much battery life I even have left on my phone. It was definitely not charged up when I started this video. So, and I'm going to be honest, I don't see me completing this picture tonight. I have to be up very early in the morning, and it is getting very late. I'm wondering if I should use the chisel, because I just don't feel like I can put down enough ink fast enough with these brush tips to get a good even coverage. So I'm afraid when I go in to do that such a large area that I'm going to falter. I mean, I guess I can try. It's getting very cold out. We are supposed to have some very wintry weather coming into the state. Hopefully not overnight. Someone told my mother-in-law that it was supposed to be like 4 a.m. it should be arriving. That is not what I had understood. I had understood that it was going to be much later in the day tomorrow and into tomorrow evening. And that's kind of what Gary confirmed too. He's actually at work, so they get the county updates of, you know, any bad weather that's, you know, headed our way, since they're, you know, basically emergency management for the county. And they had not received anything about any dangers overnight. So I'm thinking that the person who spoke to my mother-in-law probably misunderstood something, or she misunderstood what they had said. I'm not sure. But I assure you, if any of that crazy wintry mix makes it this far into our county, I think it's going to be more north of us. But if it does, and it comes in overnight, I am not going to my appointment in the morning. I will call them and tell them I need to reschedule, because I am just not driving in that. These people are crazy around here anyway with good weather. So if I don't have to go out, I will just reschedule, because I need to be in the exact same area Friday evening. And I will just tell them that I need to cancel this appointment and reschedule that for, you know, an earlier time on Friday, and I'll get all of that knocked out at once. Truly, I would much rather do that, to be honest. But we'll see. If the weather holds, I need to go ahead and go. I guess I'm doing okay with this. Doing okie dokie. All right. Whew. I mean, it's a pretty fairly smooth laydown of color. I'm going to zoom y'all out some. I get the feeling that you guys are getting blurry, and I'm not seeing how blurry you guys are getting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to use gray lavender and lilac on some of these flowers, but I think they may be too close to the same color, which concerns me a little bit. But what I can do is go back over the lilac parts to make them darker. That's the one really good thing about I moved the tripod lower, like I have been telling you guys I needed to do, to stabilize it a little better. And now I'm having an issue, it seems like, getting everything in frame for you guys. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Okay. But yeah, you can go with an alcohol marker. What I really like about that is, since it doesn't peel up the paper and it just kind of soaks down, you know, into the paper, what you can do is you can layer, you know, once you get one coat, you can go right back in and do another coat right on top, and it will actually darken your first coat and make the color appear darker. So the more layers you do with alcohol marker, the darker the particular image gets. Let's see if maybe I can tilt this some. There. Oh, that's bad, right? That made me giggle. Okay. But I do like that a lot about alcohol markers, that you can keep adding layers until you get the depth of color that you're wanting to achieve. So that's a positive. So hopefully if it doesn't show up as well as I want it to, I can just add some extra color. Because the neck's darker, there's really only these two light, like purple colors. And then there is your purple and your violet. But I'm telling you guys, I think purple and violet is the exact same ink. I don't know if I was given the wrong marker and it's, you know, marked wrong, if it was a factory situation. So if any of you have, I think I asked this on another video too, but if any of you have the Blick Studio markers, can you please check your purple and your lavender and tell me if they look the same to you? Because that just seems really weird to me. I mean, they are super, super close in color. And I mean, I cannot see the difference. I think these images in this book are just, oh, they are so adorable. There is not a single image in this entire book that I am just not completely gaga over. I need to look and see if she offers digital downloads, because truthfully, I would really like to have this as a digital copy, because there's a lot of these images I think that I would love to color more than once. So I need to check on that. I think this is a very pretty, pretty color. This is the gray lavender. I did not feel like I could do any shading or anything on that sun and on this kind of paper with these markers. I just didn't feel like that was going to happen. So that sun, I think I'm going to end up having to shade with pencil. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit with my markers with this, and I should have probably been doing it wet on wet, but I know it's a no-no. You're supposed to work wet on wet. But who makes the rules, right? I mean, it's kind of like, says who, where's the art book? That's, I mean, I'm sure there is an art book somewhere, but, you know, where's the Bible that says that? Okay, on the caps, it actually looks to me with the caps like gray lavender would be a little darker than the lilac, but in the swatch, that's not the case. And I'm getting really cold, guys, so I'm going to have to put a jacket or something over me. Hold on. Okay, temperature's dropping really fast outside, that's for sure. And I mean, I'm not outside, but I'm sitting close to the back door. I do have my heat on. If I sit here near the heat without that back door cracked, I get too hot sitting here with the door shut. I crack the door and I get cold. So I just grabbed Gary's jacket and put it on. Oh yeah, I think the lilac's definitely going to be darker, at least by a little bit. So that's good. That's definitely what I was wanting. And it's like I said, I may have to go back over the lilac a couple times to get some depth of color built up, but we'll see. Maybe not. So I watched the video, Color My World, that a couple of you had suggested about the strength, the true strength of our Prismacolors. And I admit that was pretty daggum crazy, and my only question is, after seeing that video, is if those Prismacolors are that strong. And I'm not saying that they aren't, because I mean, I'm telling you, I saw the video. And I know what she did, and I know that they were the exact same pencil, the whole 9 yards. So, I mean, I believe what she's saying. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. But what I want to know is, why do these stinking pencils break so much when we sharpen them? Of course, I'm kind of having a lot of breakage issues, too, with some of my other more budget-friendly pencils. And it's driving me back crazy. I mean, true, just batty. And I don't know what to do about that. I've got to get a better pencil sharpener, I think. I think I'm going to get the M&R, and hopefully I won't have the breakage anymore. I don't know. But the breakage is starting to really, really irritate me. But, you know, there's just some of those pencils that every time you sharpen it just a little bit, it's very obvious that the core is like broken inside there almost, because it just, you know, comes apart or whatever. So why is that happening if these things are so strong? I mean, I don't understand that. Does anybody have the answer to that? Because I do not. And I watched Sharon's video where her and Corey went to the Blick outlets in Illinois. Oh my goodness. If you guys have not seen that, you need to go watch that video. Gosh, I wish we had one of those here. That would be stinking amazing. There was some great prices. And I mean, I would just, I would go absolutely crazy if I got to go into a Blick outlet like that. Absolutely crazy. Sharon, Corey, you guys are just lucky. Do you guys even know how lucky you are? I hope you do, because that's crazy lucky to have that. I'm going to go back over these again, see if I can get just a tad darker. I mean, I was okay with what I was getting, but I think just a little darker would be nice. My closest My closest Blick is a little over 40 miles away, which isn't bad, but I've been told it's a very small store. So that's a shame. Anne is in Savannah, and she's got a larger Blick because they have SCAD College down there. Savannah, SCAD, SC. The Savannah Arts, SC. No, Savannah College of Art and Design, SCAD. In case anybody didn't know. Took me a minute to remember. There's actually one of their, I guess, satellite schools in Atlanta. But apparently Savannah's got a much larger Blick. I haven't been. I'm gonna go. I'm hoping to be in Savannah in maybe March. I'm hoping to get to meet Anne while I'm down there. If I do go, I'm really hoping to get to meet Anne. That would be amazing. And you know there'll be like a picture or video or something for all you guys if we do that. But I think that would be really awesome. So, I can't remember what I've told you guys in videos and what I haven't. Gary's doctor called him today, and his doctor is going to send his paperwork over to one of his friends who is at Emory University. So hopefully Gary will be getting a call soon so he can get in to see that surgeon and get that ball rolling again. I really wish we could have just went ahead and got that taken care of today, but it wasn't the right time. Oh ho, ho, ho. Do you guys remember me telling you that I'm a firm believer about there's always a reason for like everything? Everything under the sun, there's a reason for, right? I told you guys that. I told you guys what I told Gary about, you know, there was a reason that this surgery's not going off like he hoped. Excuse me. Well, let me tell you guys what happened, okay? All right. If you guys remember, he has an allergy to the dye that you use to do contrast. And this type of surgery requires that dye. There is medication, apparently, that they can give you that will help make sure you don't have, you know, that you don't go into anaphylaxis with it, you know, to shock or whatever. So, and for whatever reason, okay, and that contains a steroid. And a steroid makes your blood sugar go really high, all right, really high. If you're diabetic, that's the last thing you want, is to have to take a steroid. But he was going to have to, and for whatever reason, you cannot take your diabetic medicine. Gary's on metformin, and he had been told that he could not take that for like 3 days day before surgery, something like that. So he would have had to have came off that metformin. Now, the other day, Gary's mom had been at the grocery store, and she had wanted, her doctor had told her, she was on the way back from the doctor, her doctor told her that she had to start drinking caffeine-free drinks. Gary and I drink diet drinks if we drink soda. And her doctor had told her that she had to start drinking caffeine-free. She does not do sugar-free drinks, okay? She does not. She hates them. Her drug of choice is Pepsi. And after her doctor told her this, she stopped on her way home, and she knows that I like Diet Pepsi better than Diet Coke. I do like the sweeter taste of Pepsi. Gary, however, likes the sweeter taste of Coke, but that's beside the point for this story. This is not the Cola Wars. So she had picked her up some caffeine-free Pepsi. And caffeine-free Pepsi is in a bottle that is very similar to the bottle color of caffeine-free Diet Coke. Okay? Some of you may already see where this is going. She had also picked me up some caffeine-free Diet Pepsi because that's my drug of choice. And Gary had ran out of his drug of choice, which is caffeine-free Diet Coke. And he was just going to have some of the caffeine-free Diet Pepsi. Now, understand, these are two liters, okay? And Gary drinks a lot. He was outside working and doing all kinds of crazy things and getting really hot. He had a huge coffee mug that he kept filling full of this Diet caffeine-free Pepsi. And he doesn't like Pepsi because it has, the Diet Pepsi, because it has such a sweet taste. So, poor guy, didn't know what hit him. Later that evening, his mom tells me, I hope you don't mind, Donna, I'm going to get some of your Diet caffeine-free Pepsi. And I was like, which made me look at the table where this Diet caffeine-free Pepsi that Gary had been drinking was. And that's when I saw it. I said, is that what Gary's been drinking? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I've only had one glass. And I said, out of that whole 2 liter? And she goes, oh no, out of both of the 2 liters. I said, there's already a 2 liter gone? And she's like, yes. And the second 2 liter is like almost gone. And what does it say on the side? It says caffeine-free Pepsi. Yeah. By that point, damage is done. I scream, Gary, from the kitchen. And he's like, what? I said, do not drink any more of that Pepsi. It's not diet. Now, had he been having that surgery, that would have been the day that he stopped taking his metformin. So he would not have taken metformin that morning, and he would have not taken metformin that night. And he would have put down almost 4 liters of sugar Pepsi. At least 3 liters of sugared Pepsi. In addition to whatever, he may have eaten that had carbs and things in it. So he would have been on a steroid, okay, which makes your blood pressure go through the roof, or not blood pressure, makes your sugar go through the roof anyway, and he would have not been on his metformin, and he would have been chugging Pepsi. His blood sugar would have been off the daggum charts. I would have probably had to take him to the hospital, honestly. And I told him, I looked at him right then as soon as this happened, and I said, I told you there is a reason for everything. Because you would not be on metformin right now, and you would be popping steroids, And yeah, sitting here chugging Pepsi like they ain't no tomorrow. And he's like, oh, I thought it was diet. And I was like, oh, I got it. Because the color of those caffeine-free Pepsi bottles is the same color as the diet caffeine-free Coke. So, you know, I understood what happened completely. Wasn't faulting him for that. You know, it wasn't like he was trying to drink it. Trust me, he doesn't even like Pepsi, truly. He was drinking it out of, there's nothing else here for that I want to drink, and I want soda. So that's why he was drinking it, and we consume way too much soda in this house. Oh my goodness. And coffee too. Guys, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting another kidney/UTI infection. Yeah, I'm starting to feel it, and that's not good. And I drink coffee like almost all day, truly. I mean, I'm ashamed to say that, but I'll start out the day with my go-go juice, caffeinated coffee, and then when it gets too late in the day, I'll switch over to decaf coffee, like after dinner and all that kind of stuff. And I may have something else to drink in between, but it ain't water. You know, I told Gary, I said, one of these days the doctor's going to ask me how much water I drink, and I'm going to be like, a whole lot, because I brew my coffee in it. I'm going to blow my kidneys out. I've got to get healthier with that for sure. I keep a chronic UTI anyway, it seems like. And, I mean, I wonder why, you know. And we're going to have to get a little healthier around here. I'm going to have to start cooking extremely low carb again. I mean, we just need to. Gary had lost a good bit of weight, and he's gained most of it back. You know, the holidays, he went nuts and wasn't even eating. He wasn't eating like a diabetic at all. He was eating like a person who wanted to be a diabetic. And kind of relying on his metformin to keep it all in check. We were doing really good there for a very long time with low-carb meals. I was using cauliflower to replace potatoes. Mashed cauliflower is actually very good. I would have never imagined. If someone would have told me that, I'd have been like, no, I'll pass. But, you know, when he got diagnosed with diabetes, we had to get the sugar levels under control. And I had heard about it, so we tried it, and I was really impressed with that. I don't like the zucchini spaghetti stuff, though, that everybody tends to rave about. Yeah. That I don't like. Zucchini is not a replacement for pasta, in my opinion. It doesn't work right. It doesn't taste right. It doesn't have the right texture, at least not to me. I don't like it. But we're going to definitely have to go back to low carb in it. I've gained a good bit of weight. You know, especially since I've been dealing with everything I've been dealing with. Yeah, just wanted to share with you guys my little I told you everything happens for a reason story. I'm telling you, I bet you his blood sugar would have shot up to 500-600 probably. He'd have been out. I mean, I really believe. He says no, but taking a steroid with his metformin and taking a steroid, his sugar shot up to, was it 360, 350, 360, something like that. For like a day or so. I can only imagine what would happen with no metformin and taking a steroid. The heater in my car is miraculously working again. I don't have a clue. Not a clue. We, I'm sure, need to go ahead and get it looked at about getting that blower repaired, because it's going to go back out. Something like that doesn't just stop and then just fix itself for good. I don't believe that would happen. So I still need to deal with that. Okay. Whew. It's exhausting. There we go. How's that look? I'm going to go in with buttercream here, and then I'll come back over it with that honey yellow that we're using, like where you see all these little dots. This, is that called stippling? Isn't that what it's called? But I'll go back over that with the darker yellow. So it'll bring this color back in. Good. Good, good, good. KKK. Looks good. Okay. I took a short little break just to relax my legs a bit. Oh, I missed these flowers right down here. And these over here. And oh my goodness. Goodness, goodness, Donna. Oh. I don't expect my phone to hang in with us much longer, to be honest. We'll see. But I'm not holding out much hope for it. We're at about an hour and a half now. Thank you guys for hanging in with me if you're still here. It's getting very late. It's way past my bedtime. I don't sleep as well when Gary is at work. Generally, when he's off, especially if he has to work the next day, we are in bed as shortly after 9 o'clock as possible. Like, little old people. But his alarm goes off at 5 a.m., so that's why. And I generally get up as he is getting ready for work also on those days. But when he works, even if I get up, 5:30, 6 o'clock, when he's at work that night, I just find it very hard to get tired. And I take melatonin and hydroxyzine at night to help me relax. And it seems to work okay when he's home if I just take it and sit down and, I don't play on my phone anymore after I take that medication. And just kind of chill out. I will get tired and be able to say, okay, I'm ready to go to bed. It still takes me forever to fall asleep, but at least, I'm headed in the right direction anyway. But when he's at work, if I go ahead and try to take the medication early, like I normally do, I don't get tired. I don't. I don't understand why. I just don't get sleepy. And then it's almost like my body says, okay, we're so over this medication, now you're wired. And so it's insane. So what I normally do on the nights that he works is I will wait until I actually start to feel physically tired. And generally that is about, honestly, when I hit about the 16-hour mark of being up. I sometimes will start to feel a little tired. Sometimes it's closer to the 18-hour mark when I start feeling tired. And that's when I take the medication. I wait until I start to feel tired, and then I let it try to kick in and help me rest. So insomnia is a big struggle for me, and it seems to be, going to sleep's really hard, so I deal with that type of insomnia. Staying asleep, I wake up several times a night, so I don't get a lot of restful sleep. And that's pretty much been the case since my little run-in where my nerves were damaged from the medications. It did some serious damage to my brain, to those receptors. And that will probably be a lifetime thing that I deal with now. But I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Last night, Gary and I both had insomnia. We just couldn't sleep last night, and I think it got to the point where we were keeping each other awake. He would get to sleep, and then I would not be able to sleep, and then I would almost get to sleep, and he wouldn't be able to sleep, and this just went on all night. And at one point, I finally got out of bed and started getting my blanket, or not my blanket, but my blanket and my pillow and stuff, and he's like, where are you going? And I'm like, to the recliner to see if I can go to sleep. Because a lot of times, if I just kind of curl up in that recliner, I can at least doze a little bit better. And so I finally was able to fall asleep for a little bit, but I heard that alarm when it went off, and normally I don't even hear his alarm because I don't know how it wakes him up. It's not that loud. And it's actually pretty soothing music. But it wakes him up, so he uses that. Normally I don't hear it, and I heard it loud and clear this morning, and I was like, yep, I'm up. So, I've been up for quite a while. I do not take naps during the day. Naps during the day are a big, big no-no. No, no, no. If I take a nap during the day, I'm feeling very crappy. I promise you. Because if I take a nap during the day, I go into that with the knowledge that I am probably cursing myself to a night of insomnia. So I try my best to avoid naps at all costs. I remember years ago when I thought I had insomnia. You know, sometimes you just don't sleep good at night. My answer would be, oh, well, last night I was having insomnia. And, yeah, I didn't know what insomnia was. I know now. You know, and it's just like I didn't really sleep at all last night. But here I am now. By now, it's got to be midnight or close to. And if not past, I don't know. And I'm really not that sleepy. My eyes are starting to feel a little tired. So, for me to have only gotten just a couple hours of sleep and then been up all day and it be so late, most people would be like exhausted. That's insomnia, when it doesn't matter. You're just not tired. And or and this happens to me a lot too, I'll get absolutely exhausted, but I can't sleep. That is torture. My eyes will water because I am so tired. Gary will be like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm not crying. My eyes are just watering. But my eyes will water. I will yawn constantly, but I can't sleep. All I can do is just lay there and my eyes water and constantly yawn. That's insomnia. And it's horrible. Some of the lines are missing here. It's an incomplete image. I hate that when I find that in artwork. Do you guys ever find that where the artist forgot to finish something off? They missed it. And then you're kind of like, well, I mean, I guess that one's a leaf. But I did see it down, I guess, okay, that's making more sense now. But I ran into it down here somewhere. Oh, and one of these leaves, this one, all of them had the little lines here, coming downward, but this one didn't. I run into that a lot in a lot of the independent artists' books and stuff. And, oh, I love independent artists. Don't love them. I'll support them every day of the week. But I run into that sometimes, and I'm kind of like, because I don't, oh, that should have been yellow, crap. But it's like I don't know what to do sometimes when I run into things like that. I found a few of those situations in Deborah Muller's That Christmas book, The Naughty and Nice Girls. I found that a few times in that book, where I would run into something like that. And sometimes I wonder if it was done intentionally or not. I mean, I wouldn't understand why it would be done intentionally, but I mean, I guess. That would definitely be my argument. I meant to do that. Okay. Blah. I just feel blah. Oh, that's a chisel nib. That's not what I wanted. Keep looking up to see if my light on my phone, because my phone will go dim, real dim, when the battery gets low. And that's when I know I got to go. I need to get a way to plug my phone in close by so I can still film. I am definitely feeling fatigued, so I guess that's a step in the right direction. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. I don't know how I missed that this thing had all these flowers and that they were all the same. That's nuts. I missed that. I'm going to blame it on fatigue. I mean, that was even a little over the top for me. I think these lavenders go really well with the colors on the little baby peacock. And it may not be a baby, but it's so super cute, so I'll call it a baby peacock. We are approaching 2 hours, guys. There is no way my phone can possibly be holding up to this. It's gonna have a fit any minute, I promise. Okay. Up here and get these little bibbies. Until I'm at the 2 hour mark, I've ran out of things to talk about. That generally happens about the little over an hour mark. I'm like, oh, I'm all talked out. Which is crazy for me, because I talk a lot. So I do like these markers. I think it just needs more colors. That's what I got to say. I think it's great. I think they're great markers. I think they're definitely not budget friendly, but I mean, they're not Copic expensive either. I think they're a great alternative to Copic, but I think there's way too many grays for it to be a 96 set, and I think that they need to add more colors. Either get rid of some of those grays or add more colors. And that's my opinion on them. They seem to perform well. I do feel like the brushes are a little dry in bigger areas, but I've got a feeling that's just the difference between a nib, you know, the bullet nib, and a brush tip, and I think that's just something that I'm gonna have to get used to. I think that's a me problem more than a quality of a product problem, especially after feeling the nibs on the Prismacolors and also the, you know, the chows. So I think that if you're in the market for a marker that you're going to be able to buy refills and replacement nibs for, I mean, I think that the Blick Studio brush markers are a good sound choice. Just beware of how many grays you're getting. There are no blue grays, there are no green grays, they're all cool grays, what they call basic grays, and warm grays. So you have that one little slate blue, which does look like a blue gray, but that's it. Unless you want to call this a green gray, but I don't think it is. So yeah, that's it. You know, I do think that Blick will eventually come out with more colors. I do believe that. I felt like everything's packaged in like color sets. You get 4 packs in the 96. There's 4 little boxes, each holding 24 markers. I feel like they're packaged as color families, and they probably do sell gray sets and things like that, so you can buy them, you know, smaller. But I think that they will definitely introduce another 24 pack. I do. And I can pretty much guarantee it since I bought them. Because, you know, the marker gods don't like me when it comes to things like that. You know, it happened with the Tombos. As soon as I bought those Tombos, within just a couple weeks of buying the Tombos, they released the 12 new colors. So that's kind of a going thing for me. So I think if you invest, I do believe you'll see that the size of the set increase in the next little while. I don't know how long it'll take, but I do firmly believe that they will expand their sets. I mean, they would almost have to, because you know that what they're trying to do is compete with like Copic, and there's like 366 colors in Copic, I think, and I mean 96 doesn't even compare. You know, they're like almost 300 behind. Well, 370, something like that. So yeah, I do firmly expect them to expand. And there goes my battery, guys. So that's the video. I will finish this up and show you guys the completed page. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Ring the bell to be notified of future videos. And until next time, guys, peace, love, and happy coloring. Bye, guys. Nighty-night. Well, hello. I guess you thought you got rid of me that easy. Never, never, never. It is morning, and I slept like crap. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We are back with our cute little peacock. And let me see what I want to do with this now. I'm going to grab the 049 dark green Blick Studio. I may actually try to work with, I'm shedding, got a piece of hair stuck under my nail. It's crazy. It's really cold, so I've got my comfy robe on. I may try to use the chisel a little bit and just see how it works. Gary's ran to the store for a little while, and I thought, well, maybe I can just add this footage on to the video from last night. I am so sorry I had to run off so fast, but when my phone goes to, when it turns really dark so I can't, you know, see what's going on anymore, that is because the battery is at about 2%, and I know then that I only have a couple minutes before it's dead. So I wanted to hurry and get off last night because I was so afraid that it would just cut off while I was trying, you know, to say goodbye. So I'm very sorry for that. I just could not sleep again last night, and this is just getting, it's getting so old. It really is. what I would give for a really good night. Just a really good night of sleep. I hope everyone is doing well today. It is Tuesday morning. I'm doing well, other than being tired, and it's pretty cold. The temperature we woke up to this morning was, I mean, it was chilly, but it wasn't too bad, but that was pretty much the high for the day. The rain has moved in. The temperatures are dropping rapidly. They're expecting pretty rough weather north of me. I'm not really sure what's going to go on, like right here where I am yet. Hopefully nothing too incredibly bad. 067, come on, 067. It is 067, right? Yeah, 067. I feel like I'm playing bingo. 067. There it is. It's the bright green. 067. I'm really liking the way this picture's turning out. This entire book, I'm telling you guys, if you have not purchased this book, I would highly recommend it. It's Garden of Joy 2. I'll try to remember to leave a link in the description below. I have a flip through on the channel. If you will look through the video list, you can see the full flip through of this book. It is just cuteness overload. When I received this book, I was so stinking excited when I opened it and looked through it. There is not a single image in this book that I do not want to color. And that's rare. You know, every book I get, I'll have, you know, a few pages or whatever in it that I really, really like. And the rest, I mean, I may or may not color. And then generally there's a few in there that I pretty well know I won't color. But this book was not like that, you know, at all. I immediately knew that I was going to be coloring in this book and absolutely loving it. I think I'll go in with the, I hope this does okay. This is the dark olive green. And see, this pen has the ink also down inside the cap and around the edge. I mean, it doesn't affect the way these work at all, and I'm sure they'll clean up with just some alcohol wipes. Maybe they were stored with this tip downward instead of being stored flat, and it just sent a lot of the ink down into the nib. I'm not sure, but it doesn't affect it at all. Yeah, that looks really good. I think I'll do the olive green on each one of these little, like these little vines. I really like to use a limited palette in the majority of my pages. I think I like the way it makes a page look when the palette's very limited. I think if, at least for me, if I put too awful many colors in, it starts to look a little busy, and to me it kind of takes away a little bit from the picture. So I try to stay pretty limited with my palette. But I have seen some people who use just a rainbow of colors and their pictures come out just so beautiful. But that method doesn't work very well for me, personally. So, you know, it's truly all about what makes you happy and what you find visually appealing, because this is all about you and about your relaxation and your enjoyment. So you do you, whatever it is that you find appealing, and that's just, you know, great. I don't think my mind's working all that great today, so if that didn't make any sense, I'm really sorry. When Gary left, I was actually sitting in my recliner with my head laid down, and I was almost asleep when I heard him leave, and I thought, well, I really need to get up and work on this picture a little more, because I know you guys really like to see pictures, you know, get finished on camera, and, you know, I like that too. But this is going to be such a long video, and it's a balance, I guess, that you have to figure out. I do like how small of an area these markers are capable of getting into. I do find that rather impressive. The point the brush comes to a fairly sharp point, which really helps with details, and the chisel looks like it's fairly small also. So that little chisel tip might be a good thing to get into smaller areas and color with. I may actually be able to learn to use chisels off, you know, using these markers. That would be amazing. I'm having a little bit of bleed out on these lines, but it's very thirsty paper, so it was actually rather cold. Now I'm feeling rather warm. You know, my desk is right here near the heater, so I've got the heat coming through on me as I'm sitting here. What is this? What is that? I'm not really sure. The weather is so icky. It's probably going to be a pretty chill day. When the weather's like this, you know, it's hard to stay alert and awake and everything, and then to be super tired on top of that. I mean, it's not like there's not a lot that we need to get accomplished, but a lot of what needs to be accomplished is outside things. One thing I do need to do is clean out the refrigerators. I'm terrified of what may be growing in some of those containers. I've been meaning to do that for several days and haven't gotten that done. That might be a great task to get done at some point today. Just pull a big trash bag over and just start dumping things over into it. Since it hurts to stand and bend especially, I've gotten so far behind on things like that. Things that I definitely shouldn't, you know, be behind on. And I need to be a little more on top of some things. But once I'm up on my feet for just, you know, a few minutes, it starts to get kind of painful to stand like that. And especially if I do any bending, that pain in my side just gets really, really sharp. And once it starts, I don't have any medicine that I've seen so far that will relieve that pain for me. So anti-inflammatories don't seem to work. Tylenol doesn't seem to work. Don't know. And I can't take anything stronger than that. And naproxen is the strongest, pretty much the strongest thing that I try to take when it comes to inflammation or pain relief. I had some separated ribs a couple years back, and it's really a funny story how I got them, but it's not very appropriate, I guess, for the channel. But I mean, it wasn't anything bad, but you know, horse playing around and crap happened, but that was like some of the, oh my gosh, that was crazy. That was crazy insane. And by the second day, I was like, okay, I've got to go to the doctor. Excuse me. And I was given a Toradol shot because I didn't want anything strong. So they gave me a Toradol shot and some Toradol to take it home. And that wasn't going to do anything for that. So the next day I had to go back in for another Toradol shot, because the shot would help a little for a little while and give me a little bit of relief. And my doctor was like, Donna, sweetheart, this isn't going to work. She's like, you're going to have to take something stronger. And I just have really bad reactions to that kind of medicine. But I'm telling you, pain is a very powerful motivator. I was like, yes, ma'am. And she had given me an opiate painkiller. They just make me so sick, and they make me so nauseous. And I get neurological side effects from medications like that. And it was just, it did take the pain away. I will give it that. Okay, so it did its job. It took the pain away. I could breathe again, because if you've ever had a broken or separated rib, breathing can be difficult. It hurts so bad to take in a deep breath. So I was on that medication for about 2 weeks. And then I had to come off of that. And of course, after you're on an opiate for, that kind of a period of time, your body builds up a tolerance to opioids so quickly. And, after just 2 weeks, you will have some withdrawal symptoms. So I had to deal with that for several days. And it was just like, no. So, but it was absolutely necessary with those separated ribs. I couldn't take a deep breath. I mean, I don't think I was breathing well at all, because it hurt so bad to breathe in. And that's the last thing I want to do, is to have to take a stronger painkiller. I refuse to take anything like that long term. And it just makes me feel so crappy. And then all of the side effects, and no, not for me. The point I realized I needed to go to the doctor with those ribs, it was so funny, because, well, it was not, I assure you. I forgot this little yellow center right there. I assure you, it was not funny at the time at all. But kind of looking back at it now, I can see the humor, I guess. But I had managed to get to sleep, and that was a feat of its own. When you've got that much pain going on, you have to get comfortable in a certain position, and try to dare not move from that position. And so I had woken up, and I needed to use the restroom, and the bathroom was across the room from us. So I had gotten up, and I went to the restroom, and while I was in the restroom, all of a sudden, and it's like the middle of the night too, all of a sudden I'm sitting there in the restroom, and hiccups. Oh my stars. That was some of the worst pain I have ever experienced in my life. To have a separated rib and the hiccups. I had no medication at that point. I had not even been to get the first Toradol shot. I was being big, brave, and bold. I had told Gary, look, I've had 3 children. I'm good. I can do this. Not a big deal. I was reduced to a groveling infant, like instantaneously. I was crying and hiccuping and crying and hiccuping. It was, oh my goodness. And I told Gary right then, I'm like, first thing in the morning, as soon as the doctor opens, I'm going to the doctor. And his response was, well, if you're not going to take, pain medication, there's no reason to go. He's like, there's nothing they can do for you. And I was like, I'm going to the doctor. Because, he knows I won't take that. I don't like taking that kind of stuff at all. And so, yeah, pain is a powerful motivator. I am not convinced that my labor with my kids hurt as bad as those hiccups hurt with that rib. So if you've had children, then you know exactly how bad that pain must have been. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it probably took, when this happened and Gary had said, this is going to take several months to heal. I'm like, are you serious? I couldn't, fathom that. And I mean, the first couple weeks was, the worst part of it. But after that, it had gotten a little better. It was to the point, at least, that it was manageable, but if I took a deep breath, it still hurt really bad. If I were to lift anything, it would hurt really bad. And it was probably almost 6 months before I stopped feeling that. When I would take a deep breath, I would stop. I didn't feel the pain in my chest anymore. So that's no joke. When something happens and they have broken ribs, I have the utmost sympathy for that person. Because that is a pain I can definitely relate to. And apparently a separated rib is just as painful as a broken rib. Because, you've got your cartilage in there that and there's like some cartilage that connects everything together, and what happens with a separated rib is that cartilage rips and separates some, and that's where the pain comes from. And apparently it hurts super bad, and if broken ribs hurt worse than that, I definitely pray to God that I never, ever, ever have broken ribs. My dad had broken his ribs working on his truck. He had just leaned over into the truck with the hood up, and it was a big, like 73 Ford pickup, and he was bit over inside of there, and he heard a snap, and that was his ribs. So when I was going through this, I was telling him how it felt, and he said that's exactly how his broken ribs felt. So apparently there's not much of a difference. So I guess it is possible for a man to experience pain very similar to the intensity of childbirth. Some of you ladies may disagree, but I'm telling you, I told Gary that I would rather be in labor and give birth to a child than to have separated ribs again, because my longest labor was 36 hours total. Michael was 22 and a half. Jordan was 36 total because we had to induce because of some complications. And then Brooke was like 9 hours. And, you know, I told Gary, at least when you're in labor, I mean, even at 36 hours, which is an extremely long labor, even at 36 hours, at least in 36 hours, it's over. But this went on for weeks. So, oh yeah, I would rather give birth to a child than have broken ribs. And besides, at some point, if you ask, they'll give you an epidural when you're in labor. Nobody's giving you an epidural to stop the pain from broken ribs. Wow, I can't believe we're already at 30 minutes. That means this video's like... Oh, boo. I had some ink bleed through down here. Oh, there went a marker. I don't even know how it managed to get over here. I'm going to knock more down. I'm sorry, guys. I got to move this around. I'm going to have to get down there and get that marker. Oh. I'm going to have to do it soon, or I'll forget it's back there, and I'll put the markers up, and the next time I'm using the markers, I'll go to get whatever color that is, because apparently I like the color. I think it's the teal, honestly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the teal. It may be two. I think it might be two markers down there. But I'll start looking for a marker, and I'll drive myself crazy. It'll be the next time that I try to, you know, pull things out and sweep or whatever, then it'll be like, oh, there's that marker. And it'll drive me nuts. I got worried about my fat boy Bradley last night. He'll generally eat anything that doesn't eat him first. He doesn't care for anything that contains vinegar. But I have seen him eat like salt and vinegar potato chips, but like olives or anything like that, no. He doesn't want that. Pickles, no. But this dog will eat salad. He'll eat some onions. I mean, pretty much anything. Last night, I was having a few, you know, mini pretzels, and I offered him a pretzel, put it right up to his nose, and he turned his nose up to it. And it really concerned me, because that is not like my dog. So I felt of his nose, and it seemed a little warm and dry, and I thought, could this be bad? I went and checked to make sure he had plenty of water, and he did. And I happened to think about the rest of that Chick-fil-A chicken that I didn't eat. So I was like, So I got the chicken, held it down to him, and oh, he gobbled that right up. So for whatever reason, he was just being a picky little, you know, butt last night and worrying his mama. I told Gary about it this morning, and Gary said that he tried to offer him one of those mini pretzels the other day, and he turned his nose up to it also. But I know he's eaten pretzels with me before, so I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm telling you, my dog is spoiled. Absolutely spoiled. I know everyone says it's not good to feed a dog table food, and, you know, It is high in fat, high in calories and everything else, but let me ask you a question. 100 years ago, before dog food was a huge hit, especially in more rural areas where they didn't have the stores and everything else, what in the world do you think the dogs eat? What do you think they would eat? They ate whatever table scraps were left over, and those dogs were just fine. So I've never been a stickler about not letting my dog have table food. I'm particular about what table food I'll give them. But, nothing spicy, nothing extremely fatty, unless it's just a little special occasion just to give you a little taste. Mostly meat, proteins, things like that I know I know that he needs in his diet anyway. And so this dog's just spoilt but rotten, because when we have like breakfast, he'll get a plate that's all his. Now, I never did this. This started after we moved in here to help my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's doing this. She makes Bradley a plate. Yes, she does. He gets his own little plate. All right, hold on one second. I'm going to grab this marker. Okay, it was 2 markers. It was the teal and the other marker as well. So, at any rate, Bradley's gotten a little spoiled when it comes to that. Like for breakfast, he may have a piece of sausage or a piece of bacon and an egg, and maybe a couple bites of toast. And most people would like, if they're going to give their dog table scraps, air quotes, they generally give it to them after everyone's eaten, and the dog would get just what's left over. Oh no, no, not Bradley. Mother-in-law makes Bradley a plate before anybody else's plate gets made. Yes, she does. And she doesn't put this in a food bowl. She puts this on like on a paper Dixie type plate that she puts down for him. I feel like this keeps getting blurry. Somebody please tell me how to turn autofocus off on a video. Excuse me. But yeah, he gets a plate before anybody else gets a plate, a real plate. And he gets that. So I say all that to say, and then plus, like, if he doesn't have a meal with us, I get the cute little cups that you can open up and feed to him. It's got the cute little gourmet soft food or whatever. So yeah, he's got those. So he is pretty spoilt. And I think maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know for sure, but I think maybe like last night he's getting picky because he feels that he's entitled to other things maybe. So what he used to take as a treat, a special treat, is just not all that special anymore. So I think maybe that's what's going on. And my mom spoils him also. Anytime she's around, he's well spoiled with her also. So he's a well taken care of a little pup, that's for sure. Oh goodness. The lids snap really well on these markers, but it's still not super difficult to get the lids off. You know, sometimes if lids fit really nice and snug, they're difficult to pull off, but I'm not experiencing that with these. They're fairly easy to pull off, but they are snapping, you know, very good. So overall, I'm very impressed with these markers. My only complaint that I have is they need more colors, less gray, more color. This color here is very berry. And the other marker was Coral Pink 011. What are you guys thinking on this butterfly? I'm not sure what to do with it yet. I was thinking about doing it the same colors as the peacock to kind of bring those two together a little bit. I thought they might look good together. I want you guys to be able to see better, but I so feel like it gets blurry. At least when I look up, to me it's looking blurry, but it could just be the angle I'm looking at my phone. So if you guys aren't having blurring issues, please tell me. That way I'll stop stressing. And if you are having blurring issues, please tell me so I'll stop stressing and I can just figure out a solution. You know, maybe Google will be my friend. Or I can just call Michael because he's my tech guru. You know, if you want a child-proof lid open on a medicine bottle, give it to a child. If you want a piece of technology fixed, ask a millennial. And I don't say that, you know, in a negative way. And, you know, I say millennial because normally if you were younger, I would say ask a teenager. But they were the kids that grew up in an extremely technological age. You know, unlike me, when I was in school, if we had an assignment, we had to go to the library and we had to use the Dewey Decimal System. There was no such thing as Google or any of that. So we didn't have any of those kind of benefits when it came to our assignments or anything. Kids have absolutely no idea how lucky they are to have those types of references and things that they can use in their schoolwork. I did see something on Facebook the other day, though, and it made me giggle. It said our teachers, you know, when we would take our math class or whatever, and we were to do something, we would ask, can we use a calculator? And their answer would always be no, because when you're in the real world, you're not going to always have a calculator. And this Facebook post had said, our teachers said that we wouldn't always have a calculator. We showed them. You know, I'm walking around with this cell phone in my pocket that is more powerful than my laptop. Now, my laptop's several years old, so I'm not kidding. I think my cell phone's definitely faster, processes and everything much faster than even my laptop. That's why I don't use my laptop much. But there's some things, you know, that it'll say, you must do this from a desktop, and that's when I pull my laptop out, when it's not optimized for mobile. But other than that, I am using my phone. And it's a calendar, it's an alarm clock, it's a calculator, it's a notepad, it's a phone. It's a, you know, all kinds of different communications. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what we have at our disposal now compared to what we had just back in like I was born in 75, so it was probably the 80s is what I remember most. So when you compare to what we had in the 80s or the early 90s and then look at what we have today, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, back down here on this little peacock, I missed an area right here. You know, I'm always seeing these things after the fact. There's a little line right here, and I don't know what to do with it. I'm thinking maybe. Okay, it's looking great. Let's see what we got. And I just wanted to add these colors simply because I wanted to add some more colors to the picture for you guys. So you can see that. And with this little booger, I'm still thinking to match him up with the little peacock. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So let me grab my peacock colors. What about those cute little flowers, or flowers, hearts on him? I wonder if I could use the peacock colors, but put maybe purple hearts. Yeah, I don't know that I'm digging that idea much. I'm sure this will be a book that I complete this year. I'm pretty well thinking this will definitely be one of my completed books, because I just absolutely adore every image. Someone who also got the books, they got 1 and 2, and they told me that they didn't like 1 as much as they like 2. I haven't gotten volume 1 yet. This one actually went on sale, and that's when I nabbed it. And I've just kind of watched, hoping that volume 1 would go on sale, but it has not yet. So I don't know how much longer I'll sit around and wait. I'm going to angle this up just a tad. And that's just so I can have a better angle to work at. Hmm. Oh, goodness. It's not the right color either. Crap. It's the dark green. I got way out of the line, too. Oh, well. It's not anything I can do about it. No use crying over spilled perfume. Debating, guys. Okay. Let us see. Okay, that doesn't look bad. So what do you guys think of the Blick Studio markers? Give me your impressions. I like them. I do. They just need more color. The sound of the ceiling fan is making me so sleepy. I've got to make it through the day without a nap. I cannot allow myself to nap. It'll just keep repeating a cycle if I do. Uh-oh, I hear the fire truck. Hope it's nothing too awfully bad. Okay, sorry I'm not talkative. We're almost done. Actually, I really think I want to outline it. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think? I think I'll stop right there. Okay. There we go. It took us 3 hours, but we got it done. What do you think? I think it looks great. What I'll do is I'll come in with some like Pebbles chalk and do some type of a background. In this, I may try to shade out the sun a little bit and maybe a little bit of shading in like these here. other than that, it is done. This is a 3-hour video, the longest video I've ever done, I believe. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the Blick Studio markers at work. Tell me what you think about them. I personally do like them. I think that if you're in the market for these type of markers and Copic is out of your price range, I think that the Blicks are a good alternative. Just be aware that you are indeed limited on your colors. Oh, I'm shaking you all up. Sorry. Make you nice and dizzy. Again, this is the colors here that's available. And then you have the rest of these grays up here. And that's your full set. So let me know what you think. And I enjoyed coloring this picture with you guys. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, peace, love, and happy coloring. Bye, guys.